back to my channel. If you visited my channel before, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. So I did a little things different today. You already see what I have already baked. Today I baked tea cakes. This was my very first time ever baking tea cakes. I grew up eating tea cakes, but I've never baked them before. And if you know me, you know that I love baking things in front of you guys for the first time. Now, in my research, I found that tea cakes are a Southern tradition that goes way back in my culture, way back to the 1600s. And what I discovered was during that time period, the tea cake evolved from an English cookie. And the English cookie had yeast. Well, back in the 1600s, when they didn't have access, people in my culture didn't have access to yeast, they used what they had. So basically, they substituted some of those ingredients, and voila, here you go. You have the tea cake. Now, if you watched my channel before, you know I love telling you about all the gadgets that I like to use. Well, for this particular recipe today, what you'll definitely need is a stand mixer, but you can use a hand mixer if you don't have a stand mixer. You are going to need a rolling pin. You're going to need a zester because this recipe actually includes lemon zest. You're going to need measuring spoons. You're going to need a cutter for your cookies. I use this little cute one with the little ridges on it because I wanted my cookies to look pretty. You're going to need a rubber scraper. You're going to need a sifter. And I used a baking mat in order to roll my cookies out. But if you don't have that, you can just flour a surface. Normally, I use a baking mat, but today I used parchment paper. So those are some of the things that you'll need in order to make this recipe. So if you have had tea cakes before, you maybe know about tea cakes that don't necessarily have spices. I'm only used to tea cakes that have spices. And the spice that this particular tea cake has is nutmeg. And I love nutmeg. So if you love nutmeg, try this recipe. If you don't, you can actually leave the nutmeg out. There are several recipes out on the internet that don't include nutmeg. They only include vanilla extract. So these tea cakes, like I said, they were really, really easy to bake, and they don't take long at all. After you place them in the oven, it only takes 5 to 6 minutes in order for them to come out golden brown. So let me show you what they look like. I'll show you different variations. Look at this. So tea cakes are a soft cookie. Um, See, it's bendable, pretty soft. And as you can see, the little design that I was talking about that I made. And they're golden brown on the bottom. Can you see that? Yes, 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 yes. So if you've watched my videos before, you know I like to wait to the end. But since I've already prepared these delicious tea cakes for you guys, it is what? Taste test time. So we're going to do the taste test, but you continue to watch so that you can see how I came up with these beautiful tea cakes. So let's see. Ooh, and that one's nice and golden brown. Yes, yes, yes. Mmm, this is good. It's not too sweet, which is a good thing. Mmm, this is good. You can taste the nutmeg. You can definitely taste the nutmeg. Also, guys, in this cookie is evaporated milk. I found that to be surprising too. So continue, follow along so we can make some tea cakes today. In order to have a successful baking experience, I suggest that you read your recipe all the way through and gather all of your ingredients. I converted this tea cake recipe into the metric system, which means I replaced the cups into grams because I love using my scale to measure out my ingredients. I find when using a scale, it allows you to be very precise, and it cuts down on the amount of dishes you have to wash. All of the ingredients and measurements for this recipe will be listed in the description box. The description box is just below the title. When you see the word more, click the word more, and either the full recipe or the link to the recipe. You'll notice I zero out my scale before adding the next ingredient.
that one, you can use the small size of a cheese grater. When zesting a lemon, try to use only the top layer of the lemon, which contains essential oils. The white layer is very bitter, and you don't want to add that to your mix. Look at me cracking an egg with one hand. We YouTubers make doing these recipes and video look very easy, but as you see, I'm taking the time to make sure that I added all the proper ingredients. The shocking thing about this recipe is that it contains mayonnaise. And guys, if you haven't noticed, I absolutely love using my Nielsen Massey vanilla. I added a little extra. In order to sift my ingredients, because I'm using a scale, I simply added my sifter to my baking bowl and measured out all of my ingredients. One quick tip: when measuring out the salt, don't do it over your sifter. Do it on the side, because I've made the mistake of adding too much salt, and that can change the taste of your recipe. And guys, this is very important. Don't rush the creaming process. Always make sure that you cream your butter and your sugar at the time that's listed on your recipe. If it says 2 minutes, make sure you do it 2 minutes. And also, make sure you scrape down your bowl. That way you can get all of the ingredients that may have stuck to the side of your bowl or at the bottom. I noticed when doing this tea cake recipe that the batter was very loose. Don't be alarmed if your batter looks like that. Always make sure that you flour your surface really well so that your dough does not stick to the surface. I chose to use this aluminum rolling pin because it had measurements on the end. The recipe calls for you to lay the dough out in a 1/4 inch thick layer. But as you can see, this was not a good choice. So I decided to use my hands. So I decided to use my good old French rolling pin. I'm taking the time to show you this part of the video, just in case you run into sticky dough. I wanted to show you how to handle it. As you can see, my dough is very soft and sticky. At this rate, it would take me about 30 minutes in order to get all the cookies on the pan. And this is where I decided to place my tea cake dough in the freezer for about 10 minutes. And voila! Firm tea cake dough. And now we're going to place our tea cakes in a preheated 350-degree oven for 5 to 6 minutes. I've left these bake for approximately 5 minutes, and it looks like it needs 1 more minute. Placing the tea cake dough in the freezer did not affect the bake at all. Nice and round. I've let the tea cakes cool for about 10 minutes on a cooling rack and placing them in an airtight container where I can enjoy them later on this week with a cup of coffee. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, bake, and comment. Be blessed. Until next time, I'm Mrs. D. Bye.